Is it time already? Oh God, I'm not ready. I'm never ready for these things. Oh, let's see. We're receiving content. Let me click this thing. Click. There you go. I'll wait for people to show up. And straighten out my act here. Okay, there we go. Geez, I had a lot of stuff to do. I've still got a lot of stuff to do. There's no end to the stuff that needs to be done. Look, I got some packages out. I got a whole lot more coming, by God. So we'll have a big shipment of stuff going out on Monday. Nobody's here yet. Let me check and see if I got a setting wrong. Every now and then I screw something up. Are we public? Let's see. Yes, we're public. Scheduled. Okay. Yeah, this is working just fine. Yeah, I get nervous when I'm the only one to show up. Well, that's okay. We're going to talk anyway, even if nobody's here. It's Saturday, it's spring, the weather's getting better. People are getting outside and doing things. Okay, that's understandable. Saturday afternoon, be good to get out of the house for a while. We're going to talk about, there, somebody finally showed up. We got Cointelligence just came in. I was going to talk about getting started in coin collecting. How do you get started? People ask me all the time, what should I collect? That's a pretty broad question. Anything you like, anything that catches your eye, anything available is a good way to start. Good Lord, there are so many different ways to go. And we get Coin Dragon that showed up. People are starting to filter in. I didn't do the schedule for the show to make the notification button light up until, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. I'm way behind. We're just busy stuffing envelopes and stuffing packages over here. Cointelligence says, I've got an auction soon. Old dimes, 3-cent silver coins. If you want to get in on that, folks. No doubt some good things to have. How'd you get started? There's a neat way to get off to it. Coin Dragon. There we go. We get a couple of people here. It'll be a quiet show in the chat. Now we have a live broadcast when we start this stream, this video. And if you're here, you can chat over here with other people that are here. You can ask questions. Kind of makes it fun to interact. And I usually draw a pretty good crew, pretty good crowd. But like I say, it's springtime. It is a nice day out there looking at it. I got the door wide open. There you go. Got it from your grandfather. I got started with my great-grandmother, of all people. She had a, well, she played Beano. They didn't call it bingo up north. It was Beano. And, you know, because you use a bean to cover your little, you know, your B29. You get 5 in a row, you win. And, you know, they give you like 20 bucks. That was huge money back then. It's sunny here, but that sun is deceptive. Is it too close? Is it icy cold sun, that clear sky when it's so darn cold? There's nothing in the atmosphere. I started with my metal detector. Turned winter on, I didn't need another hobby. Well, I can't say I blame you. It's hard to dig that frozen soil up north. That's why I moved south. I was 10 years old. I'm going through my grandmother's pennies, you know, for her Beano thing, just to see what was in there, you know. There's some big, you know, buttons and stuff in there. She said, "Can you get that stuff out of here?" Because she's got arthritis and can't wiggle her hands too well. But by God, she could play the Beano, no problem at all. Boom, boom. She had like 20 cards. So I'm going through them, and there's this old penny, kind of weird looking, got an Indian on it. Never seen such a thing before. Never in my life. Of course, I'm only 10 years old. She says, "Oh, yeah, that's what they looked like when I was your age." Well, I look at it, and it's a, what's a 1907. I'm 10 years old, and she was born in 1896, so that's, you know, pretty much what they looked like when she was my age. This is her over here, if I can get that going. Now, let's see. Screen. Where's that? There it is. Let me give that a bump, too. Okay, screen. Here she is. Over my blog, I get the story of how you got started. And this is my great-grandmother, Nanny. And this is, you know, mid-70s. She was only in her 80s probably here. And as you can see, plaid pants were all the rage. There it is. That's the old house on Grant Street. That's the old lady. And well, she had all kinds of stuff. And I kept looking through it. She had an 1882. And you could barely see it. I mean, it was just worn right out. What's this button? You know, here's here's a 1906 penny. That's the Indian. And when it was worn off, the 1882, you could barely make out the profile and the date. A lot of the rest of it was just wore out. But, geez, that kind of got me started. If there's more, what else is there? I haven't even heard of a buffalo nickel yet. Right? Mercury dimes, no idea what such a thing was. Let me find my way back to chat, and I'll give you the home page. There we go. Got it. Cool, wheats. Yeah, well, she always had all kinds of pennies. I'll put them in order, you know, the oldest one, the newest one. Of course, back then, you know, 1974 was shiny because they were brand new, brand spanking new. And I found some older ones, you know, with that old style where you get that, it just has the words and the things on the side. All right, that's a wheat penny. And you can still find these in circulation. And geez, in 1977, if you go back, you know, 70 years, you got into the previous style. Well, what are we at now? We're 2018. If you go back 77 years, what's that year going to be? I got to actually pull up a calculator here. 2018 minus 77. That takes you to 1941. That's a pretty old penny. And you can get these, you can get wheat cents that are still 1941. I don't know what the date is. That's 1944. That's almost as old as the coin that I found in my grandmother's bucket. And you can still find plenty of these today. Where are we here? No, gosh, I didn't focus. I'm not ready. There you go. That's a 1944. Pretty old, pretty tired. But they're fun to have. You collect them all. Geez, I realized, you know, you can get one of every date, one of every year out there. So I started putting together, you know, pennies from the pocket change. And it was a start. And geez, I had all kinds of them. Some of them had little extra letters. I didn't know what the heck that was about. You know, I look and there's a little D letter under it. What's going on here? There's a lot to learn, especially when you get started. You don't realize you don't just have to have 50 years. You got to have all the mint marks for those 50 years as well. You know, if you had to start right now, these memorial cents are still around. Right? They're going to be around. They went on for 50 years. You had Philadelphia. They had no mint mark at all. And they're pretty common. You had Denver. You'll see these. This is a 20-year-old coin. Nothing crazy or remarkable. But if you don't have one, go get one. It only costs a penny because you can get these out of pocket change. Then you got the ones with no mint mark. That'll be Philadelphia. Right, that's a little letter right down under here. And then there's an S. And for a few years, these memorials were made in San Francisco. Nowadays, they only make collector quality coins, which are a different animal altogether. Right, that'd be like a proof, is what they call it. I've got one right here. Instead of the regular business strike, you get something just beautiful shine. These are polished. The dies that they make them with are specially prepared. What's that one? That's a 1957. And it's just like a mirror. Let me see if I can put that under the scope. So if you wanted to get into it, you could collect only the proofs. But a great way to get started is just collect, you know, one of everything that's out there in circulation. And you'll come across older stuff on occasion. Now, you won't find a proof like this, although you can. Let me find the scope. There you go. That's what we're talking about, where it has been polished to such a degree that you've got mirrors on the surface. It's not the coin that was polished after they made it. They made it this way. This is normal. Okay? It's not a business strike. It's this crazy shiny thing. And they changed the way they make them. So now you have a sort of a different effect now. Let's see if I can pull one up. I got one here. Yeah, this will work. Where it's more of a process where you have this cameo feature and it becomes black and white. Good Friday. What's Good Friday all about? I have no God. Well, anyway, I have good coins. So Good Coin Friday. There you go. And these proofs are a neat way to go. But that gets into it later, after you've been collecting your pennies out of change or your quarters or nickels. Where do you start? Start with something you can get. And you can get these pennies right out of your pocket change. And the best part is they only cost a penny. Collect the best one. right? You've got those mint marks. Get one of each mint mark, one of each date. And just with these memorial cents, you're looking at over 100 different coins. Uh, Total cost, $1. Not too bad. Coin Dragon says he pulled a 64 Lincoln proof out of circulation last week. Yeah, they're out there. They're few and far between, but every now and then, well, somebody will spend your collection. My sister in 1980, thereabouts, and a friend of hers, they raided my coin collection and went down to get some soda. The fire station had a machine, and you put some quarters in, and you could take a soda. Well, she and a little friend went down and put in, just every penny I had, and got him some grape knee high. Oh man, I ran down. She said my coin collection. There's bicentennials in there. There's a couple of war nickels, those old silver war nickels. They were pretty accommodating. So just go through it, take what you need. It's all right, no problem. I didn't have to pay for it. J.C. Will has joined us. A little bit of this and that. Rob Stewart. Yeah, we're getting a little crew in here. Okay, so if you're going to get started, people ask me, what should I collect? All right, pretty much whatever strikes your fancy, right? You can start in with these pennies. Pennies are easy because they're cheap. They cost a penny. You want to gather up, 100 nickels. That's going to cost you, $5. When you're young and getting started, coming up with the money to get the coins is tough. Even if it's getting them at face value, because you're still going to come up with a few dollars if you're going to go through rolls. People go to the bank and they'll get entire rolls of coins. You've seen the rolls. They look just like that, and they got 50 of them in there. And they'll go through and pick out the best of each date, the best of each mint mark, and set them aside and keep those. And if you go through enough of these, you can put together the best part of a set, and you can probably do it with with these things that are out there right now, with the memorial pennies, with the Jefferson nickels, even the Roosevelt dimes. I've got one right handy. There you go. But they're not always going to be the best looking coins. This one's got some dirt and debris on it. What is that, a 94? That's already 24 years old. I think at 25 years, I call it an antique. I pulled an 87 proof once. What the heck did I grabbed up a bunch of rolls, because I go through penny rolls looking for good stuff, and every now and then I find good stuff. I got 3 proofs out of a box. A box will hold $25 worth of pennies, and you go to the bank and give them $25 and say, here you go. And man, it give you hours of stuff to look at. It'd take forever. Look at it this way, Ken. Without Jesus, you would have sinned for nothing. The Pope says there's no hell. Well, now what? I think all religions just crapped out on that one. Well, no matter. Easter's coming. We can all get religious then. Okay. State quarters are interesting because you have so many different designs. I had a pile here. Where'd they go? Oh, they're totally gone. Here's one. The U.S. Mint decided to give us a little present, and they gave us these State and America the Beautiful quarters. It's George Washington on the quarter, but you got 50 different designs on the back. Well, that's kind of neat. You got Delaware, Maine. What's your favorite state? Collect them all. You can get 50 of these darn things. And the designs in the back, they're important to the state. Like this one is Delaware. You got Caesar Rodney, and he was a representative to the Continental Congress. And one great story with him, when they were voting for the Declaration of Independence, he was a little far away and had to ride all day and all night to make it there in time to vote yes. And so this was Caesar Rodney's ride, is what it's depicting on the back of the quarter. There's history on these things. It's not just the quarter itself and the date. It's the history that goes on. Now, this one, you got a P mint mark. Okay, in 1980, they started to put the P mint mark on everything except for the pennies. But now you got to have a 1999, right? P and a 1999 D. Try that. Then they got more they made, right? They got those proofs I talked about. Then they got silver proofs. They're 90% silver. And then in 2012, they started making the S uncirculated. So now you got to get all those. Then you've got between 2005 and 2010, you've got a satin finish. Okay, that's another animal altogether. So, geez, how many you got? You're talking 600 quarters, right? To get just the state of America the Beautiful and all the Washington quarters all put together. 600 quarters? Now you're talking what? 125 bucks if you got them at face value. Rob Stewart says, my bank is great. I used to get their coin machine at no charge, so I don't lose a percentage when I turn in my non-keepers. There you go. People go through these rolls. They go to the bank to get rolls. And I've got other videos on how, to get the coins, count them out, not lose money, just saying, hey, I want some rolls, and then when you turn them back in, because some banks, they don't want to take those rolls back, right? So you take them to a Coinstar machine, then you don't have to count them out so much. But those Coinstar machines will keep 10%. Well, geez, if I get 10 rolls of pennies, and it costs me 10%, I've already lost one whole roll just on what that machine's going to take to count them out. I can count them out and take them back to the bank. But if you're going to do this with the, going through the rolls, you pick up stuff at one bank and then you drop it off at a different bank. So if you have one bank account and there's 2 branches in town, you got a good chance. But always keep one bank just for dumping them and one just for picking them up. If you go to the same bank and say, I'd like, $25 worth of pennies, then a week later, you got, $24.50 in pennies. Can I get my money back? They get upset because they incur a fee from their supply service companies, because they actually pay for delivery of their, their big rolls, their giant bags of cash. It's inventory in effect, right? Businesses come in. I had a diner. I'd go in and say, I need 100 $1 bills. I need 50 $5 bills, because people come into the diner and they're gonna buy stuff and eat and do their thing, and then they're gonna pay me with a $20 bill. Well, their tab was only $6.87, so I got to count back, bills, $10, $5, $1, and the $1 bills, man, they go quick. Man, you go through $100 bills quick at a place like that. So I keep going back to the bank, say I need $100, $101 bills. They give me a stack, and I need some 50s. I need some change. Of course, I took advantage of that and said, I also need an extra $25 for the pennies, get ahead here. And of course, I'd go through them. It would take forever because I spent most of my time cooking, but it was fun. Why not? But going through pocket change is a great way to put together effectively a set of what's out there. You can get one of everything, a quarter, a dime, a $50, penny, a nickel. All right. You can look for all the different varieties, all the different designs for the quarters, and that'll keep you busy right enough. Excuse me. I mean, you're looking at 50 state quarters, but you got to have the 2 mint marks. That's 100 different coins. And if you can put that together, it's going to take some time. You go to the bank and say, I need $100 worth of quarters, and you'll pick through there, and you won't get 100 different coins. You get a lot of them that are the same. Maybe you won't get any in 1999s at all. Well, Caesar Rodney's just going to have to wait. He'll get there eventually, but it takes a lot of effort just to keep going back to the bank and pick through different stuff. But you can find other things while you're in there, which is neat. If you're doing pennies, right, you can put together your set of memorials, right, and as you find another one of the same date in its better condition, well, keep that one and chuck the other one, right? Because it doesn't make sense to keep every single coin. The United States has made something like 750 billion coins just in what's currently in circulation. The Jefferson nickel, the Roosevelt dime, the Kennedy $50. Let's see, the Washington quarters. Is there something else? And the Lincoln cent. 2/3 of all those coins are pennies. There's a neat one. I bet you didn't realize that. You got 750 billion coins, and 500 billion are Lincoln cents. 2/3 of our coinage is pennies. That's the way it works, just a small denomination, they need a lot of them. So you can go to the bank. I used to, when I was, 10, 12, I had a bike. Well, maybe when I was 12 and 13, I could get downtown. And it was always in the winter, because I could make money in the winter shoveling driveways, $5. That was good money back then. this is pretty good money now. I'd love to have $5. I go to the bank, right? And I said, can I have $5 worth of pennies? And I'd sit them right there on the curb, and it was cold, man. It was Maine. It was cold. In the 1970s in Maine, it was like an ice age back then. I'm not fooling. It was like a glacier up the end of the road. The snow wouldn't melt until September. Then it starts snowing in October. So we just had like 2-3 weeks of mud season. But I go through and I pick out all the stuff that I wanted. I'd saved all the different dates, okay, and I think that one looks pretty good. That looks better than what I have, so maybe I should keep that and I put that in my pocket. And I found those old wheat pennies, right? And I kept every one of those, every single one of them. I kept them. Got a lot of 1956 Ds. I think at one point I had 14 of them. It was a lot. It was huge. I'd find an older one. Maybe I'd find one that was better than what I had. But they always were kind of used. They've been around circulation. They've been spent a lot of times. But I could put together a bunch of them. I went through nickels, right? I'd finish with the pennies. I'd take them to the bank across the street. And I say, can I get, how many dollars worth of nickels? And I end up with a couple of rolls of nickels. And I sit on the curb and go through those. And I keep anything before 1964. Every now and then I find, a silver one, because they were made with silver during the war. And you can tell because right over the dome, that's where they got a giant, mint mark. That'd be a big giant P right up here. I mean, you couldn't miss it. I got some on the table over here, I think, but I don't have them ready for the show. And I go through these rolls, and then I found, remember that Indian penny I found? Well, I look and I pull out this nickel. It's got an Indian on it. Oh, Jesus, look at this. What is this? It's mid-30s. A little bit older than the Jeffersons, because I could pull, 1941, 1940, 39, sometimes a 38. I pull those right out. We used to pull 38 Ds and S's all the time out of those rolls back then. Well, they weren't that old. Okay, and on the back of that nickel that I found, I got a buffalo. That was 5 cents. And I thinking, oh, that must be what they mean by a buffalo nickel. It's got a buffalo on it. These are great designs. And every now and then you can find one of these if you're going through rolls, right? If you're going through enough change, you're going to find one of these. I can't tell you how many you got to go through, but it's a lot. Right? These are mostly been picked out. And you'll find them, they're kind of worn down. Maybe you can't find a date on it because it's so darn wore out. That's one of the high points. And if you spend it a lot of times and it changes a lot of hands, over time these things will wear out. So getting real good shape is going to be tough, but you can get some decent coins out of circulation. Nickel, and let's see, the quarters, dimes, and half dollars before 1965, they're all silver, right? And you see other videos where people go through coin rolls. That's all they're doing. They're just hunting for silver because it's pretty handy. One of these, instead of having Delaware on the back, have the old eagle on the design. But the side is going to, have I got one here? There you go. The side of it is going to be white because it's not clad like we have nowadays. It's going to be white because it's 90% silver. I can't even focus this. Let's see. There you go. That's a silver. Whereas this one has a brown stripe because it's a copper layer in between, sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. Okay, well the silver ones, if you look at the value of silver on the market, let me refocus here, you're looking at probably 12 to 13 times the face value is what they're worth, and those you can sell very readily. So now you can, if you borrow some money, go get some rolls, go through enough of them, you can get lucky and get, a silver coin, a dime, a quarter. Half dollars are pretty good. You get more in the half dollars than you do in the in dimes and quarters. There's not a lot of them. When I started doing the coin roll hunting, because that's what they call it coin roll hunting, I was finding very little silver. I could find an occasional silver nickel. Those were made during World War II. They needed the nickel for making, stuff for the war. It was a harder metal. So they use silver instead. And they have less silver. It's not 90%, that's 35%. But right now, they're still good for $1. You find a few of those, well, good. That'll pay for your project. You can use the hobby to keep the hobby going in that way. Of course, that's another you know, that's another show. How do you sell this stuff you find? Okay, something like this. This is a Walking Liberty half dollar. They made these before the Ben Franklin half dollars, which are made before the Kennedy half dollars. And they don't make the Kennedy half dollars for circulation. Have I got one here? I probably have one back here, I'm sure. There's one. There you go. So the Kennedy half dollars, they only make those for collectors nowadays. I've got one right over here. There we are. That one's a proof. It's a, see the S mint mark? That's the S. And before 1965, that mint mark was on the back, right? Over on these other dollars. They're in different places depending on the coin. So you just have to know where to look. On this one, if it had a mint mark, it would be right here beside the branch. Kind of a neat thing. But you learn all this stuff as you go. Don't worry about not knowing stuff. You'll pick it up as you go. It's a process. You're not going to know exactly what to do right off. You learn as you go. You can watch these videos people have. There's all kinds of coin videos, and they'll tell you, here's this coin, and it's got a mint mark right here in this spot. You know, it's good for $2 or something. I don't expect to get rich overnight. Let me set that back. I don't expect to get rich doing this, the coin roll hunting. There are great coins out there. You can find them, but for the most part, they're going to be worth close to face value. These wheat pennies, where'd that one go? I had one. There you go. These wheat pennies, they're only good for, 3-4 cents, right? If you get older ones, maybe a little bit better, but it's hard to sell something for, 24 cents. The book says it's worth a quarter. If you get a bunch of them, then you'd sell them at an average price of a quarter, is the way that works. That's how they come up with those figures, the prices. Where'd that book go I got? Here it is. There's scads of information out there. Okay, this is a red book. Now, these are available. What is this one? $17. Okay, it's a little hefty, especially if you're getting started out. This is like a staple. It'll tell you all sorts of things about the coin. Right? You can get these at the library. They don't cost nothing that way. And also have, prices. What's this coin worth? Now, you got to realize those prices, they're not written in stone. Sometimes they'll be up, sometimes they'll be down. Sometimes this guy's prices don't match, the prices over here on PCGS. Or numismatists has different prices. It's because the way they calculate the prices changes from one publication to the next. So take that with a grain of salt. It's not written in stone. Rob says, I picked up 4 decent walkers. This is a walker, by the way, because you get Liberty walking. See, them boots are made for walking. At 12% over spot. Now, that's not a bad price. See, this one is, what is this one? That's a 1936. Spot price is around $17 or so, and this is 90%. So the value on this thing, if sold for silver, would be about 12.5 times face. Well, it's a half a dollar, so you're looking at $6.25, right? If they're beat up, wore out, they're going to be scraped across the top, Somebody stuck some chewing gum on it. It's screwed up. It's got a bent. Right? Somebody took a bite out of the side. Really, it may only be worth a silver value. And that's okay because you're pretty solid with the silver. That's why a lot of people like to collect the silver, because it's got more than just, the price of the coin. These coins have different sources of their value. They have face value. Right? This is worth 1 cent. They have melt value, like their gold coins or silver coins. Right, the silver, yeah, that's worth, you got some cash on these. They're worth right now, because silver, that price fluctuates up and down, 12 times face. You get a silver dime, well, that's a good $1.20. Right? Can you get $1.20? You get $1 for sure. You get 10 of them, and you get 10, 11, maybe 12, sure. And you can put them together. It takes time. Coin run hunting, yeah, it takes time. There's stuff out there, and it's real money. You can sell this stuff. You got to find collectors, and there it gets tough because you're not going to sell it tomorrow, right? You're gonna start today. You're not going to sell tomorrow. It takes time to learn all the routines, all the subtleties of this hobby. Where do you sell it? Do you sell it on Facebook? you sell it on eBay? You can take pictures of it because, geez, you want to take a decent picture if you want to sell it on Facebook to somebody, 600 miles away. Then you get into how do I then send it? How do I ship this thing? Gosh, we'll get into that. So that's like an advanced course right there when you get into the selling of the coins. Um, we'll just talk about, getting started because that's where a lot of people just have so many questions. Where do I find out all this stuff? Um, well, I'm working on it. I've got that blog over there. Where'd that go? Let me find that back. Okay. There you go. There's my grandmother. There's Nanny. Good to see you, dear. Okay. The 1 Million Pennies Project. And I, put up all kinds of stuff there. There aren't that many blogs out there that talk about collecting coins. So, well, geez, if you can find it, read it. And if you do find a blog, let me know so I can put it on my directory of blogs. Okay. Home. Nope, got to come up here. There. So I've got a whole bunch of these coin classes, and if you just click on my name down below, it'll take you to my somewhere down here. It'll take you to my channel, and from there, did I just screw that up? Probably. There. I think that's got it. It's cutting off half of my head. Anyway, you can find all these other coin class videos, and each week I talk about something. But also you'll find other channels where people talk about coins, and it's a great way to learn. You can spend 10 minutes or 20 minutes, 3-4 hours, just binge watch coin videos for a good Saturday afternoon. Excuse me. Oh, beg your pardon. Do I sell it on Friday? Ann had a question here. Supply and demand. Yes, supply and demand will determine price. Each of these coins, let's see. I've got one right here. They've got different dates on them, but the U.S. Mint made different numbers of coins, in different years. 1944, they made 1.5 billion of these, right? No kidding, 1.5 billion. That's like 1.4 billion. 1943, and this is made in Denver. Which, I don't know, 250 million, 1/4 billion of the darn things. And that one's interesting because it's zinc. Okay, 1943. Remember that silver war nickel? They needed the silver, or they needed the nickel, so they used silver instead. In 1943, they needed the copper, right? The shell casings. They needed it for the shell casings. World War II. So they made the coins, the pennies, out of steel, and plated them with zinc. You got to keep the steel from rusting, and so you get those neat things. And in better grades, yeah, this becomes a pretty prized collector item, right? People will pay good money for something like that. This guy over here, it's circulated, it's beat up. Most people will have 10 of these. They made 1 billion of them. The population at the time was 150 million, so they made a lot of pennies for the number of people out here. So how many were made, the mintage figures, will determine the price as well. Something that's more rare is going to have more value. There are people out there who collect these things, and they want to get one of every date, one of every mint mark, and they want the best one they can get because it's a nice set right there. I've got a few things over here on the desk. You start out simple and small with pennies, right? And over time, of course, you'll expand and you'll go get some really shining pennies. So they're not these old circulated beasties. Let me have a look at this. Where do we go? There you go. Now you go from, something you just find in your pocket change has been spent 100 times. You start getting into these uncirculated guys where they're in beautiful shape, right? This one has a few spots, but it has every bit of detail that you could hope for. Let's look at the front on that. There you go. It's got an original, looks like a shiny brand new penny, right? People like that. If you can put together a whole set of Lincoln pennies that look like that one, dude, it's going to pay your college because some of these dates are so darn rare. You don't have that many of them, and people will pay big money for it. But that's down the road. Right now, we'll just talk about where do you get these coins? What kind of things should I keep and look for? Okay, look at an idea of what's out there. There we go. But you start with the simple circulated pennies or those state quarters, and you go, to older coins. You find better condition coins, the shiners, where they're just screaming brand new. Let me find something to block this with, because this camera doesn't want to focus well. It's tough. Now it's gonna be grumpy today. If it doesn't focus, I put black screen on it, and sometimes that helps, and sometimes I just need to give it a shake. Okay, over time, right, you'll get into, from the pennies, you'll get into the nickels, the quarters, maybe dimes. Not a lot of people do dimes, so there's lots of opportunity to find some neat stuff there because nobody collects the darn thing. But you'll grow the way you collect over time. You'll collect more things. Maybe you'll put together a complete set, right, of a series, or maybe you'll try to collect one of everything. Have a type collection where you have, one of each of the nickels, the Jefferson, the Buffalo, the Liberty nickel, the Shield nickel. You try to get one of all the pennies, right? You got the Lincolns, the Memorials, the Shields, those bicentennials are in there. You go back, you get the wheat pennies, and you get the Indians, the Flying Eagles, and you get the large cents, and they're big and pretty, and I can't find where they went. They're somewhere out there. But you branch out, and over time you keep, expanding your collection because there's so much out there to look at and see and do, right? Maybe it's what is this? Commemorative silver dollars. This one's got it's Chris Columbus after how many years? Or commemorative half dollars, right? That are made by the mint and specially produced and just dressed up nice. Maybe get into coins that have been certified. Here's a proof nickel. Here's another one with a different company. Okay, you can get the entire sets of these proof coins. There we go. So you have a proof set. And these are specially made by collectors, but they made, millions of them for a few years. So some of them are pretty darn expensive. Some years they didn't make as many. They're in high demand because people want to put together the full collection. And yeah, the prices are pretty good on those. Oh, let's see. Here we got silver dollar. There you go. That's a peace dollar from well, can't see that. I'm gonna have to put it over here so I can see it. What is this thing? Scope. They used to make silver dollars, right? They went to paper dollars, especially around the 20s. They were used in paper currency before, but when the 20s came around, their manufacturing processes improved to such a point that they could make them cheaply and easily, and they'd be lasting a whole lot longer. Right? The paper wasn't as acidic, so they weren't falling apart. They would last, and they were cheaper to produce than these silver coins. But before the bills came out, they made lots and lots and lots of silver dollars. This one was made in Philadelphia. If there's a mint mark, it's going to be back here beside the tail on these. And they made these into the 30s. That's a peace dollar right after World War I ended. Right? People are real happy about that because so many people died. It was a tragic thing. They made a peace dollar, and they call it that because it says peace. There you go. Well, that's a noble cause, I'd say. And before that, they had Morgan dollar, which I can't find. This desk back here is ruined. There's no finding anything there. But there's a great design here. It's almost the Art Deco period, the 20s and 30s. And you get the eagle perched on a rock, olive branch in his legs. But the eagle, it's a attack bird, but here he's at rest. Well, good. That helps symbolize peace. On the back, you've got Lady Liberty raising her head. Great hair. I want to do my hair like that. And she's got a cap on here, and the cap itself has the whole story behind the cap. Why would she have a raggedy cap on? And that's 1922. This one was made. Then you get In God We Trust. There's a whole story behind that, why that's on our coins. And that goes back another, 60 years before this coin. There we go. There are nice, big, heavy things. All right. And there's other things you can collect. Maybe it's not dollars. It could be anything round is good. This is a piece of copper. I have these around. You see them all the time. There's a big, fat piece of copper. Same size as the dollar. All right. Kind of a neat thing. The mint doesn't make those. People make those. Then you can expand into foreign coins. Here's a Canadian That's a penny, believe it or not. That's an old penny. Got Queen Victoria on it. There's one of our pennies, and there's one of those old Canadians. What's the date on that one? Oh, that one's 1892. There's another story behind all those. How far back you want to go? It's neat to keep going back and get an older one, Here's a Canadian coin from, we can't focus, 1814. No, we're never going to focus on that. I give up on that camera sometimes. It just needs a good slap. And that's not really a penny. It's a half-penny token, which is neat. This one's seen better days. You get back in time, and sometimes these old coins, that's a half-penny token. Is it money? Kinda. Kinda, not much money. It's only a half a penny token. Oh, let's see. You got different things. Here's another dollar coin. Home. Here's another dollar coin. Right? These are the moderns, where they made them with this beautiful, sexy girl on top. Okay, let me look at the size on that. Why didn't they work? Because they had a big dollar, and then they went to a little dollar, and people didn't like that dollar. So they didn't use those. They didn't collect those all too much. Okay, they only made those a few years. This is one of the fewer years. There you go. They made them in 79, 80, 81, and nobody liked them, so they said, stop making them, just stop. You ever gone to a concert and the music's so bad they just say, stop? That's what went on with this coin. It's an unattractive thing. It's small. There's no silver content. What makes it worth $1 when it's the size of a quarter? Okay, great design on the back. Never had a problem with the design on the back. But they ran them for 3 years, canceled them. And then they said, we're going to make a different one, right, with this other design, has an Indian on it. So you have these modern dollars with Sacagawea. And they're kind of nice. There's nothing wrong with those. But they didn't have the dies ready, and they said, we're going to start making these. So they reused the old design of Susan B. Anthony when they started up again in 1999. Okay, so there's those. Every coin has a story. And that's, if you start there, really, if you start with the story behind the coin, that's going to get you into the coins, into collecting. That's where the hobby is, the real meat of it. It's not just, you know, this coin is worth $6 and I could sell it for $7. It's not just buying it for $1 and selling it for $2. It's getting into, you know, the story behind the coin. What makes this one so darn special? Because, geez, it's made out of steel. It's magnetic, right? What makes this one so darn special? Well, it's one of the most popular coins of all time. Right? Got a unique animal, an animal unique to North America on it. They don't have these things in Europe. They got buffalo in Africa. This is not actually a buffalo. It's an American bison. It's different from the buffalo. There are no buffalo indigenous to this nation. There you go. What makes this one special? They ran it for 50 years. It was the most popular coin of all time. They made 25 billion of these. And it's really neat because they've made so many since then that these old wheat pennies account for only 5% of all the Lincoln pennies ever made. Tiny. Oh, is it 5? I'll have to check those numbers. It's tiny. It's like 5%. Yeah, 25 million and 500 billion. Yes, 5%. And 85% of these Lincoln pennies were made after 1933. So those early ones, yeah, they are getting real scarce. But you can find them on occasion in old penny rolls. You know, go to the bank and you can get them. Let me catch up on chat for just a bit. And I'm way behind on the chat. There we go. Don't break mint or proof sets. It's unethical. Some people say yes. Is it unethical? I can take this proof set and break it up and sell the parts because maybe somebody just wants the $50. Maybe somebody just wants the nickel. Can you make money on it? Sometimes. The nickels and dimes don't usually go for much. Sometimes they like the quarters. The $50 usually is the meat of that set. And the pennies go for, you know, 1 to 5 typically. There's a few dates that are more. Bill says, I picked up 6 to 7 sets. I'm also buying the 2009 silver proof set. They're going up in price too. Yeah. Silver right now is down in price. And this is another reason to get involved in coins. It's marketable. It's ready cash. You can take this and carry it, right? I can put this penny in my pocket, or this nickel, and it looks like I've got some pocket change. Meanwhile, this is worth $300, and it's worth more than its weight in gold. So it's a neat way to evade taxes if that's what you're looking for. There's a huge opportunity in the coins. Let me zoom out a little bit more so we can have a better look at, just some variety of what you can do and collect. You can put together a whole set, and they're neat. The coins all by themselves, some are inexpensive if you want to get into buying them, right? You can probably put together most of a set of nickels or pennies or dimes or quarters just from your pocket change. Getting the high-end quality, that'll take some work. But in the meantime, you get to learn all about these coins. And more than anything else, it's that information, it's that knowledge that'll help you say, hey man, you have this coin in your desk and you're selling it for $1. I'd like to buy that because you know that that coin is worth 300, and you know where you can sell it and get that 300. There's an opportunity here. People, you can make a living doing this, which is kind of neat. I was talking to roasters. Just a minute, let me get a name here. Who's a Young Mugs? I was talking to Zeppo Young. He just listed his first coin for sale yesterday, which is kind of neat because, well, he does coffee is what he does. I've got a T-shirt around here somewhere. I was going to wear it yesterday, but I couldn't find it. He sells really good coffee. Roasted special. They're special beans. I think they got swallowed by a cat at one point in Jamaica. They're really nice, really good coffee. But now he's stretching out his wings because he's been collecting for years. And a natural progression is, geez, I got 17 of these. I'll just keep the best one and sell the rest, and then I'll take that money and I'll buy one of those. So the hobby will take care of itself over time. And it says, be careful. I hear of estate lawyers taking unitemized coins, jewelry, rings, and paintings from their clients. Geez, I can't imagine theft from a lawyer. Don't get me started on the lawyers. They all should be put on a barge, right? Dragged out into the ocean, and the barge be torpedoed. And the whole thing needs to be done on videotape. I have very little use for lawyers and insurance company executives. Bill says, I just started buying the satin mint sets. There's a neat one. You get into buying coins at some point. You've gone through, right? You put together your set, and you get to a point where, geez, I cannot find this one to save my life. I cannot find it in circulation. I've been looking for 3 years. I've got all but this one. And you get to a point where you're going to start to buy coins. And that's a story for another day. But you can, before you get there, you can get all the rest of them, in really good shape. Just pulling them out of pocket change. The further back in time you go, the harder they are to get in pocket change. But if all you did was go through coin rolls, people coin roll hunt every day. Every day. There's millions of us. Well, I don't know if there's millions, but there's thousands of us for sure. They'll torpedo themselves. Well, I hope so. Rivendell says, coffee beans that have traveled down the digestive tract of a civet. Yeah, it's like a cat thing. It's a wild cat. They eat these coffee beans, and they digest them, but they don't, dissolve them. And they come out, and it's, I guess, the alkalinity has changed and makes really good coffee. Who would drink that? What would give somebody to say, I want to make some coffee out of that? We'll just wash it off. There we go. We'll make coffee. I've had days where I'd be desperate enough to do that. Jesus, I need a cup of coffee, and I don't care where it comes from. Ooh, look, the cat pooped. Let's gather that up. Man, that's a tough one. And what inspired the first guy to eat an oyster? I want to eat that. No. Yeah, I want to eat that. Dude, what? Well, they're pretty tasty. I cook them as opposed to eating them raw. And it says the ancient Romans ate a goat. What? If I recall, why would you eat that? Well, actually, there are some benefits with the bacteriological population in your gut. You do need some gut bacteria. Maybe that's what it was all about. Of course, they didn't know a thing about bacteria back in Roman times. Corey loves oysters. Yeah, some of this stuff's kind of strange. Well, anyway, you can get started collecting coins, just going through your pocket change, just going through your neighbor's pocket change. Hey, man, you get a change bucket? Can I borrow it? You count it up. You got to pay for it. You borrow it from your uncle. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah, keep what you like. Give them most of them back. You just keep the ones that you got to have. But don't worry about the little stuff so much when you're first getting started. There's so much to learn. Focus on that. And just have fun, because that's really what it's all about. Just do your thing. People ask me, am I doing it right? You're collecting coins. You're interested. You're learning. Yeah, you're doing it right. It's not an event, right? You don't go out and collect all of them. It's a little at a time. Just one here. You get this one this week. Next week you get this one over here. Next week you get this one. You don't know what's coming down the road. 2 weeks from now, that you're going to find in your pocket changer or in coin rolls or at the coin shop at a coin show. That's part of the joy of it. It's the mystery, and what's next, because you got no idea. It could be something I never expected to find at Wellington. Right? Well, there's one on my desk right now. Okay, I didn't have a peace dollar until I was, I don't know, in my 20s. There you go. Now I got a bunch of the darn things. Right? I didn't expect to own, a whole bunch of these things, or be self-employed just doing the coin thing. Boy, I'm glad I'm there. Geez, I'm 50 years old. I don't work for the man anymore. Some people, they're looking forward to working until they're 67 years old. God, that would fill me with terror. CJ's here. Well, good. Now we can get started. Totally bragging. Yeah. Try it. Seriously, you can have a good side income doing this sort of thing, and it can, improve your situation. I keep talking about it. Dana made it. We've been waiting, Dana. Now we're going to get started. We've been talking about getting started with coin collecting. Don't sweat the little stuff, is this the right container for that coin? How do I store it? You'll get there. You'll find that out. It's, over time, you'll just keep on picking up more knowledge. People ask me, what should I collect? Whatever strikes your fancy. If it's pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, halves, American coins, foreign coins, you just want silver, maybe you just want, numismatic tokens, exonumia. You'll discover that over time, the way you collect and what you collect will change. As you grow and evolve, so will your collection. Maybe you'll give up on these low-value, common-date wheats that you can get out of circulation, and only focus on, uncirculated grades. Maybe you'll get into commemorative half dollars or commemorative silver dollars. Those are neat. Did you see this one? That's Columbus. I haven't shown this one off yet. Let me move my coffee. Let me drink my coffee. Good kitty. Okay, let's see where to go. Here is Chris Columbus. There he is, sailing the ocean blue in 1492, and 500 years later, they put him on a coin. Well, actually, they did it earlier than 500. Here's another one with Chris Columbus, and that's from after only 400 years, right? This is from the exposition, the Columbian Exposition in 1892. No, yeah, 1892. Okay, and that was in Chicago. Then we're going to look, is this Columbus? Is that what it looked like? Or is this what he looked like? Is that the same guy? Does this guy look like that guy? I don't think his nose is quite the same. J.C. Will says, waiting till after the Ken Peavy show to open my 225th anniversary 1/10 Liberty coin. Gosh, don't wait. Don't wait on me. Open that baby up. Okay, in the back you got the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. There you go. I heard there were good ships. Over in the back of this coin, you got, well, there's his boat, the one he rode, and you get the space shuttle, because Jesus, it's been 500 years, and that's where technology took us. Where's your collection going to take you? Good Lord, man, any place you want it to. Don't get bogged down on the tiny details. You know, don't ask if I'm doing it right, because you are. Just get started. Say, I'm going to keep this penny, and then you put another one right beside it, and then you got two. Then you get, you know, every date they make. Before that, you get every date they make for all the Jeffersons, all the Lincolns, right? All the Roosevelts, all the quarters. I guess the ideal coin collection would be one of everything. One of every series, every date, every mint mark, every denomination ever made. Uh, it's tough, but can you do it? That'll be a challenge for you. Dana says, I started collecting pennies, then went to Kennedy's, but now I'm really not liking the Kennedys and just sticking to pennies. That's okay. You will evolve. Uh, you know, you got a bunch of Kennedys. Well, sell those off and get some really nice pennies. Um, I know Dana likes those Woody coins, right? Where'd that one go? Here we go. She likes a Woody, where it's a. Oh, geez, you need to know exactly how those little stripes ended up on the coin, uh, or did you just say, "Oh, I know what it is, and I think that's a really good-looking coin"? Okay, well, geez, you know these things were supposed to be made out of copper, and sometimes they had something else in there, or it wasn't heated right, or something went wrong, or somebody dropped a soda bottle in there, and you have an anomaly, and you end up with these stripes. And it looks like wood grain. They're kind of neat, and they draw a premium a lot of times. Does anyone know of a 1983D RPM? Well, I'm sure there's out there. You'll have to check on, say, Wexler, for example. What do we got up the street here? Motorcycle. Oh, that's a pretty one. Yeah, there's some neat coins out there that just look gorgeous. What do you like to collect? You like these gorgeous, you know, shiny proofs? Or do you prefer an uncirculated coin in high grade? Or perhaps an old silver? Big. I mean, look at the size of these things. There's a dollar. Here's a penny. You know, there's a big difference in the size. Maybe you just want big stuff you can see. Right? Maybe you like these little tiny ones. And pennies, they're actually kind of medium size. There's, you know, dimes and half dimes and 3 cents that are smaller than that. Are they bigger than dollars? What's that octagonal thing with a Norse god on it we made back in the 1920s or so? There's coins of every size. There's always something to collect. So what you collect is going to be specific to your collection. I can't answer what's the best thing to collect. I can answer what should I collect. I know what I should collect. I collect stuff I like. One fellow asked me, am I doing this right? Sure. Okay. Could be people just want support, you know, to give, you know, some support that they're on the right track. You probably are. If you're not right now, stick with it and you'll get there. You'll find your own pathway. Panama Gold. No, it was an octagonal Norse $50 gold coin or some darn thing. I forget what it is. Collect what brings a smile to your face. You know, you like the Woodies, you like them old. Dude, there's some old coins. How old can you go? What's your oldest coin? You know, I've got some 1700 stuff. I got 1800 stuff. Plenty of 1900s. I got 2000s. What's on the table is 2000. Anything here? I think just the big copper round. Maybe some pennies. What do you like? I know one fellow is putting together a set for the year his father was born. He's looking for the best for that date. Hey, there's no problem with that. Whatever you like to collect, that's the thing. I don't know how anyone could really do it wrong. How could you do it wrong? I collected this, but I don't like it. Sell it. Get something else you like. She said, I collected this, but I'm not interested in it. I got all kinds of stuff I'm not interested in. Right? I like this one. This is neat because it's got some history to it. I like the coins with stories, with character. Right? Dana likes these because they are unique, right? These have character. They've got personality. Those Woodies. I like the Canadian ones. I like these big pieces where you got the story of the past. Right? Columbus discovering America. Yeah, that'd be a historic coin. How about the whole thing about the Statue of Liberty? How it got there, and then how it got fixed after 100 years of rotting in the salt air. That's the ones I'm getting from my album now. What's that coin, Dragon? 1804, the half cents. No, that thing. I picked up something from this show last night. There's all kinds of coins out there. However you want to collect, that's the right way to collect. There's no such thing as doing it wrong. Although I've done plenty of things wrong in between. What's this thing? Here's a neat one sitting on the desk. 3 cents. Okay, that one's 1866. They made these for a few years. They made them out of silver, and they're just these tiny little slivers of a coin. Okay, you get into what's going on here. You know, where while making it, the die that was making the coin broke and left these big gobs of metal extra because, you know, there's now a hole in the die. So you can get into those die varieties, and they're pretty interesting. There's a whole world of stuff in there. But get started, I think, is what it's all about. Don't matter how, don't matter what you collect, just get started and you'll find your way. The collection will show you where it wants to go. You'll figure it out as you go. You'll learn. That's the whole thing. And it says, love those. Want to finish my 2 and 3 cents. Yeah, 2 cents. There's 2-cent coins out there. And there's a whole story about why there's 2 cents out there, because there was a shortage of coinage back during the Civil War. Geez, we got to make coins fast. How do we do it? Well, we can make 2 cents and save all these pennies, and then we only have to make 1 coin instead of 2. And we do the same thing with 3 cents. So they were able to, you know, increase the coin production by changing the denominations. And that worked to some degree, but it was still tough because people were hoarding everything, all their silver, all their gold. It's a war situation. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, if your side loses and the other side invades, is your money any good? Not really, not usually. And so maybe all that lifetime of hard work and effort that you've been saving, it's all gone. It's all worthless. But the precious metals, right? These silver coins, they'll hold their value because of the metal content. That's why people were hoarding all those coins. 3 cents started because they needed something to exchange to foreign. I'll have to check into the 3 centers. There was part of it was the shortage of coinage. What's this? Bill J says, Ken, what's the story behind the peace dollar stopping in 1928 and then coming back? You know, I've got like 6 of these, and I have no idea the story behind them. I just think they're nice. I'd have to check into that. Boy, I can tell you all kinds of things about pennies. Dollars really aren't my area of expertise, so I picked up a few more pennies this week for the big show tomorrow, because that's my thing, is copper. Yep, but they stopped in 1928. You did have a depression back at the time, so there wasn't much demand for the currency. That could be part of the decision, the reason for the decision to not make them from 29 to 33. And it says, I believe it was lack of demand. Like I said, the depression. Look at other issues of the era. 1931, 1932, 1933. Lower mintages, especially on the pennies, for example. What is it? Some of these buffaloes. I guess you had a 1931 S and no other mintages. They started making the quarter, the Washington quarter in 1932, but they didn't make any in 1933. You know, just they didn't need the darn things. If you look back just a few years now, you realize, you know, 2009, much lower mintages than the previous year because we're in a recession nationally. And the economy just did not need the things made. So they didn't make any. Also, there were all those Morgans. Oh, there's a story about the Morgans. In 1903, they melted down half of those Morgans. There'd be twice as many Morgans out there, but they melted them down. And loaned all the silver to Great Britain so that Britain could do whatever it was they were doing. Yeah, those 2 centers, the 2-cent coins, several years later, they all got melted down because they didn't really care about the 2 centers. People didn't like them, like that Susan B. Anthony. But they didn't melt that nasty, ugly sea hag down. We could do well to melt down a few 100 million of those things down right there. Just melt them. God, that's an ugly coin. Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I keep them, but I'm not a fan of them. No, they sure do. They didn't make any buffaloes in 32 or 33. Yeah, slow need. They melted 17 million. That was a lot. They melted a lot of those 2 centers. Just fix the goddamn inflation. Ain't no way. Inflation will be with us forever. It's a constant force. And eventually it'll take out the penny, right? Because you can't make a penny for 1 cent when it costs you 2 cents to make it. Where'd we go? There you go. There's one right here. There's a decent looker. Okay, and we'll go from there. I want to thank everybody for stopping in, listening, learning. People will be back tomorrow. We've got the big show. We got some great stuff to give away. I've got a package here from Scott Hugenboom to open up, and it's killing me. I'm going to open this right now and see what it is. I had some scissors. Where'd they go? Okay. Scott Hugenboom has set some coins in to give away during the big show, and we do exactly that. He's got a note here. Let's see what we got. Oh my gosh, look at this. Maybe this will make you tune in. Check out this thing. It is 1897. I can't see the back. 1897. It's glorious. That's a good looking piece. I'm going to set that right here for just a moment, because we got a note to read. There's ACS. There we go. Good protection there. We got a birthday card. Look at this. It says, "Hi, Professor. What a privilege it is to be a part of the YouTube coin community. The show you did for Lincoln Central blessed my heart. And so did James' video of him opening the gifts. Anyway, happy Easter from Hoogie's Hobby Shop. Stay groovy." There we go. And he's added this into the package. And I'm going to have to see what's on the back there. It's an I can't see that. 1897. Morgan dollar. Good, we needed one that's just a C. Let me peel this off. And somebody's going to win this thing tomorrow. Yeah, I get to enjoy it for today. I like that part. Well, that's a real looker right there. Let me look at the back here. No mint mark. It's 1997 Philadelphia. There we are. Morgan dollar. Beautiful luster. Fantastic condition on this. Flip over the back. Have a look. There she is. Well, the bird. You want to see what a good looking coin looks like? Let's look at that up close. Look at the detail on this. I think that might be the worst blemish on it, and I can live with that. 1897, there it is. Great hair. Oh yeah, this is going to add to somebody's collection and really dress it up. Not that many people have these Morgan dollars. You know what the Morgan dollars are? They're in hoards that people are keeping because they're keeping the silver, right? They're in collections that stay there for 50 years. People collect them, and you can't get one because it's not for sale at any price until the guy passes away or something. They're in vaults at investment houses where they're kept until this price of silver goes to, $50 an ounce, and then they get sold all at once. So sometimes finding something like this is going to be difficult. Would you part with something like that? No, I wouldn't. Okay, I have to part with this one because it's not for me. It's for somebody out there. I have a few. There, that's a neat one. I'm going to set it right there. We can stare at it for a bit. And we'll go from there. Guys, I want to thank you all for coming in. Bill J says, I'm going to miss the show tomorrow due to a family commitment. I'm going to pack up around 25 packages right now, so I got my work cut out for the rest of the night. I miss my wholesaler, says Aunt M. I used to work 5 minutes from a wholesaler. Man, wholesale coins? I'd sell the house. Really, I'd be out of here. Yeah. Okay, we want to thank Scott Hugenboom for making that happen for tomorrow. That'll be a neat thing, I'm sure. Gosh, we can't get that a good enough photo. We'll have it ready for tomorrow. I'll use this as the cover image for the, the screen on YouTube. Those are fun lunch breaks. Run down, spend $100, spend everything you made in the lunchtime. Yep, save your afternoon money for paying the bills. That'll work. Okay, guys, thanks for coming in. I hope we learned something just talking about coins. that's kind of what we can do. Stick with it, because God knows what's coming down, next week for your collection. And we'll see you later. Thanks a lot, guys.